Hello guys, and welcome back to another one with us, the Review Bros, and today we're going to be reviewing ABE, aka All Black Everything by Applied Nutrition. I'm sure it needs no introduction. It's probably the most popular, most sold pre-workout in the UK. Now, is that for good reason or for bad reason? We'll be demystifying all of it as we cover the usuals, the taste, the price, the label and the effects. Is it ultimately worth the hype? Is it worth its fame? Is it worth picking up? And if you are new here, please do hit the sub button, hit the bell icon, tick the like button, you know, all the usuals. If you enjoy our content, of course, that is. But today, let's get into this one. Okay guys, you know the drill. First segment is taste and mixability. We're going to be trying out the Candy Ice Blast flavour, and it's also got the Breathe Easy trademarked Open Your Airways addition to it. And I'll try and explain that as and when I drink the pre-workout. Hopefully that focused, it probably didn't. Mixability wise, I would say it's a little bit better than average, but then again, it isn't the biggest serving amount in the world. I think it's around the 13 gram mark, give or take, which is probably either average or even slightly below average serving amount as pre-workouts go these days. For those of you that care, it's not the be all end all at all. But anyway, let's see how it tastes. I've obviously used it a couple of times before today, but let's see. It's actually very refreshing, and the obvious reason why is because you've got that Breathe Easy, menthol, albus oil, you know, Airways chewing gum, anything that sort of gives you that fresh, revitalised feeling where you feel like you can breathe deeply and openly, I suppose. It's unique. I will give them that. It's not something you see, well, at least I've not seen any other brands doing it. I know these guys have been doing it for a while now, but yes, it's cool, and I do think there are flavour options where you don't have to have that attached to it. So if you're not a fan of that mentholy, almost minty kind of vibe, you know, kind of how you feel after you've just done some mouthwash and you feel that kind of feeling. I personally quite like it. I do like the uniqueness of it, and I do actually feel, you know, whether it's placebo or not, I do feel a bit of a benefit to it. So when you're taking your pre-workout, you finish it, you do get a sense that your breathing has been cleansed, for want of a better word. You just feel ready to roll, you feel fresh, you feel like you're ready to attack the gym. So I do like it from that standpoint, and it also almost makes the drink taste colder and more refreshing than it otherwise would. So it's going to just depend whether you like it or not, basically. I've not even talked about the actual flavour yet, because that Breathe Easy element really does overpower the flavour in my opinion, but there is definitely a Candy Ice Blast, you know, essence to it as well, which I really like. Honestly, I think the flavour's fantastic, and I assume most of their flavours will taste good. I just think they're one of those companies that really puts a lot of stock into getting the flavour and the taste right. So I'd be happy to give this a solid 9.5 out of 10. Like, I really do think it's cool, delicious and interesting. Obviously that's all discretionary, but let's get into price. So you can obviously pick up this pre-workout from many different places. As I've already touched on, it's a very popular one, at least here in the UK, but we'll be going by the official website appliednutrition.co.uk to keep things consistent. And you'll find this 30 serving tub on there for £27.95. And if you divide that up by the 30 servings, you're going to work that out to be 93 pence a go. You may or may not know, we have a consistent price scale on the channel which we use to measure pre-workouts up against to see how expensive they are. 5 out of 10 on that scale is a bang average price point on the market. This comes in at a very nice 8.5 out of 10. So it's priced substantially cheaper than your average pre-workout on the market, or the average price point, should I say. So what exactly are we getting for that cheap price? Is it ultimately worth picking up? Let's get into the label and then of course the effects. Okay, label time guys, and I will just say I do think the tub itself looks very cool. Like, it's got texture feel to it, it looks very premium, high quality. You've got a nice rubberized lid for easy grip. So I do like that they've put some expense into making it at least look premium on first glance. But anyway, let's get into the actual ingredients panel, because that's why we buy pre-workouts, right, ultimately. So, you know, does it justify its place as the most popular pre-workout in the country? let's get into it. So we got ourselves a 12.5 gram serving amount. Actually, before I get into this, I'm just going to read you out the claims on the side, and you can just let me know if they sort of marry up with the ingredients panel. So they're saying explosive energy, boosted performance, insane pumps, and laser focus. So that's the claims on the tub, okay? Let's get into the label. So first up, we've got citrulline malate 2:1 ratio at 4 grams. So basically, we're going to get 2 parts citrulline, 1 part malic acid. And I'll just tell you right out of the gate, that is just, it's not really going to cut it. Definitely not in reference to the claim of insane pumps. It's a dose that will do something, it's just not optimal. You know, we like to see 6, 8, even 10 grams of pure L-citrulline to really get the most out of that ingredient. So yes, it's a good ingredient, but the dose leaves a little to be desired. You know, I would much prefer to see that dose doubled. I'd really want to be seeing 8 grams of citrulline malate at 2:1. So it is a low dose. It will still do something, and what it's going to do is help to bump up your nitric oxide production, leading to increased blood flow and pumps. Then we move down to creatine monohydrate at 3 grams, which is on the lower end of the daily recommended intake, 5 grams being the higher end. Again, I really wish that I'd just put it in here at 5 grams and be done with it, because 3 grams is still going to leave certain people wanting to take creatine on the side as an extra couple of grams to reach that 5 gram daily intake, which would, you know, bit of a pain. You know, if you're taking a pre-workout with creatine in it, you would much prefer to just be done with your creatine intake for that day with the pre-workout. You know, you don't really want to have to take it in the pre and then also add some of your own. It kind of defeats the object of having it in the pre, in my personal opinion. However, it could be worse. 3 grams is at least within the realms of, you know, the daily intake, so it could be worse. Creatine, what it does, I'm sure a lot of you already know, it's one of those saturation-based ingredients, so you've got to take it for over a long period of time to build up in your system to reach that point where you're going to start getting benefit from it, and it's going to help with your endurance, pumps, athletic performance, power. It's got a lot of benefit to it. Obviously, not everyone likes it, and not everyone gets on with creatine monohydrate because of stomach issues and digestion problems, things like that, so they opt for other forms. So basically, if you don't like creatine monohydrate and you don't get on well with it, sorry. But yeah, we've got it in this. So then we've got beta-alanine at 2 grams. Again, leaves a little to be desired. We like to see 3.2 as the minimum daily intake for beta-alanine. Another amino acid that's going to give that itchy tingly sensation when it kicks in, which last time I used this years ago now, was a standout point, along with the niacin. Like, it would really kick in strong, like to the point where you'd question what's even happening to your body. So, will it retain that same effect with the latest version? Oh, sorry, I didn't even say. Beta-alanine should help with your endurance when it builds up in your system. Similar to creatine, you have to take it for an extended period of time to reach that saturation point. And as I say, it will help with your endurance by way of buffering lactic acid. So it's just going to take a longer time to reach that, again, with the less than optimal dose there. Then we've got another amino acid as taurine at 400 milligrams. Like to see at least 1 gram as a minimum here, so it is underdosed again. It's a jack of all trades amino. It should help with some energy production within the body, a little bit of focus, and hydration and pump. Then we've got choline bitartrate as vita-choline, 250 milligrams, yielding 101 milligrams of actual choline. So it's a choline donor. It's going to increase acetylcholine levels in the brain to help with your focus and athletic performance. However, choline bitartrate is probably the worst form of a choline donor, albeit they do have it in here as a trademark version, so the purity, I suspect, would be higher than if it was generic form. However, it has been noted that it struggles to cross the blood-brain barrier, and therefore it's not as effective as other forms, as I say. So you might get some absolute minimal effect from that, where focus and athletic performance benefits are concerned, but, you know, again, it's underdosed, it leaves more to be desired. We're starting to see where that price point is, you know, how the price point is so cheap, should I say. Then we've got caffeine, just regular caffeine, 200 milligrams, which is a little bit more than an average energy drink. You know, your Red Bulls and Monsters are what, like 150, 160, 180 in that realm. So it's more than an energy drink, but definitely not up to the norms of what you see on the pre-workout market now, where I would say the average is 350 milligrams-ish. So yeah, we're looking at about 150 milligrams under the average caffeine expectation in pre-workouts as of today. So You guys just let me know if you think that lives up to explosive energy, boosted performance, insane pumps and laser focus. I know what I think, but let's move into the effects, because ultimately that's why we buy pre's, that's why we take them. It's for the actual real world effects. So let's get into it right now. So what effects did we get with ABE on the several times we have used it? Bearing in mind it is actually claiming on the front, ultimate pre-workout. That's literally what it says on the front, ultimate pre-workout. Let that settle into your bonds when I talk about the effects. So, interestingly, I genuinely didn't feel any beta-alanine on this one, and I was absolutely gobsmacked because, as I sort of touched on in the label section there, when I used this pre-workout in the past, albeit going back 3, 4, 5, 6 years now, the beta-alanine, the niacin flushing, the tingles, it was absolutely insane, like 10 out of 10, uncomfortable AF, super noticeable. And I do actually attribute that as to how these guys become so well known, because that was such a potent, standout, pronounced feature of the pre-workout that obviously people are going to talk about it and want to try it. So that's what I'm saying. It's so interesting now that they appear to have taken a U-turn, because I personally didn't feel a single tingle. Maybe a mild heating sensation, but I am genuinely talking like a 1 out of 10 on the tingle scale. I was gobsmacked because I took this expecting to have the same effect as I did years ago. So I don't know if maybe they've pulled back on that element because it was maybe scaring too many people off. For whatever reason, it just didn't kick in as strong. And I've given this to friends and they also agree, so it's not just a me thing. Very interesting, as I say, because that was the standout feature of this pre-workout. Obviously, if you don't like it, then you're going to be fine with this pre-workout, unless you're just ultra sensitive to it. So, that's the beta-alanine dealt with. Let's talk about the energy. I would say it feels somewhat comparable to your typical energy drink. As you might expect, it's got similar caffeine to a typical energy drink. So it's going to last for about an hour and a half and then it's gone. There's no crash, peaks, troughs, nothing too exciting about it. It comes and it goes, it's very smooth. It's obviously beginners, you'd be fine with it because it's 200 milligrams of caffeine. You know, most people are still going to feel it to some extent. And as I say, if you're a beginner and you're more sensitive, then you're going to feel it more. However, if you've been around the pre-workout block and you need something stronger or you want something stronger, you're going to feel it very minimally, and it's probably not going to cut it for the more intense hardcore gym sessions, you know, if you really want to ramp yourself up. So obviously that's the only stimulant in here, and quite obviously I would disagree with the claim of explosive energy. Maybe to a small mammal it would be considered explosive, but to an average size human, it's just not, is it? It's just not. So there's your energy. So let's talk about the pumps next. And I would say that they were, again, very, very minimal. Again, all you're getting in here for pumps is a minimal amount of L-citrulline, like the bare minimum to get anything out of it, and a little dash of taurine, really. And you could argue that maybe the creatine plays into your pumps, but again, very, very minimal. So don't get me wrong, you get pumped on it, but you just don't get any more insanely pumped than you perhaps otherwise would. So again, minimal energy, minimal pumps. Let's talk about focus. So it's claiming laser focus. So where is this claim coming from? Because all it's really got in here is an underdosed amount of choline and of course the caffeine, if you want to sort of put that in the focus realm as well, which you can do. No, I did not experience laser focus with this pre-workout. I just felt, all I really felt was the caffeine element of it. You know, you felt a little bit more alert, a little bit more wakefulness than you otherwise did. So nothing crazy. You kind of get the gist of where I'm going with this one, guys. It's a very underwhelming pre-workout. I personally don't think it deserves all the popularity and how all the claims on it I just do not concur with. Like, I think it's false advertising, to be perfectly honest with you. That's the biggest issue I actually have with it, is the false advertising. If it was just humbly admitting that it's severely underdosed and average, if not below average effects, I'd be, you know, fair play. It's a cheap pre-workout. You do you. But it's when these companies say ultimate, this and that, and all these crazy claims, and the pre-workout itself falls really short of those claims, that's when it rubs us the wrong way, essentially. But I will say there was no negatives with the pre-workout, so that's a thumbs up. Obviously, I really like the taste and the breathe easy element of it. I really like the design and feel of it. There are things I like about the pre-workout. I just don't like, and of course I like the price. I like the fact that it's such an affordable pre-workout. I just don't like the false claims and the underdose label, and the real world effects I don't much like either. Because it just doesn't feel like it's giving you sufficient amounts of ingredients to really get the most out of your gym session, to be quite honest. Like, I would much rather people pay a little bit more and get a much better pre-workout. And in fact, you can actually find pre-workouts in a similar price range that actually have clinically dosed ingredients and give you enough to get what you want out of it, aka juicy pumps, laser focus, an ample amount of energy, which this pre-workout just isn't giving you. So would I say avoid it, shortlist it, or buy it? This is tricky. I definitely wouldn't say rush out and buy it, by no means whatsoever. I wouldn't, I don't know, I don't think I'd say avoid it either, because it's not a horrific pre-workout, like it's not ruining lives and giving you a horrible gym session. I would say shortlist it. If you're on a very, very tight budget, you've got limitations as to what pre-workouts you can use. You know, maybe if you're someone that really cares about taste and you just specifically want to try the breathe easy element of this just for the novelty of it, then yeah, there are reasons to pick this up, but they're just not very compelling reasons in my opinion. So yeah, I think that covers it all, guys. It is just a shame that they couldn't just increase the dose of those ingredients to meet expectations and claims and you know, the clinical recommended dosages. And I understand that if they did, the price point would shoot up, but there has to be a bit of give and take with these things, ultimately. I would just rather that they put the ingredients up and increase the price accordingly. It will still work out a cheaper than average pre-workout. It just might fall in at, say, a 7 out of 10 on the price scale rather than 8 and an 8.5. So yeah, I think there are things to be done with this one to make it better, but this is the route they've gone down. So ultimately, I don't think it does deserve its podium and all of the fame that it has attached to it, but they are ultimately targeting the more misinformed, average Joe kind of audience, the people that don't really know how much of a certain ingredient they should be taking. You know, they'll just simply see this on the shelf, see that it's shiny and colourful and cool looking, see that it says ultimate pre-workout and says, yep, I'll have some of that, job done. They're not going to question it any further than that, and that's exactly why I wanted to do a review on this one, because we want to inform the uninformed. You know, maybe you've been recommended this by a friend and you thought, oh, I'll have a little search on the internet and see what people are saying. This is the reality of the pre-workout, guys, the unfortunate reality, because it could be so much better, and I do want it to be a lot better, and maybe one day it will be, but not today, unfortunately. But yeah, guys, anyway, I do think I've covered every element of it. Let me know what you think. Have you used it? You know, I'm sure if you're a UK viewer, then you more than likely have used it, so let me know down below what you think. Did you, by any chance, happen to get the potent beta-alanine tingles and niacin flushing with this latest version? Or, you know, I'm either black sheep here, am I the one who's weird for not feeling it and the friends I've given it to? Just, yeah, let me know what you think down below. Let's build an overall picture of our experiences with this one so people can come and visit, look at the comments, watch the review and understand truly what it's offering and if it's worth it. So anyway, guys, yep, that is everything. Please do hit the like button if you've enjoyed the video and found it useful. All the usuals. Let us know anything else you want to see us review down below. And as always, stay stimmed. Just not so much on this one.